Okay, these are the 6 mindset shifts that will save the planet. So, apart from things like green hydrogen, which has to be scaled up, and sustainable aviation fuels, and of course, a few other technologies, we basically have the technologies that we need to remedy climate change and live sustainably on planet Earth. They largely are already in existence, and yet we are not implementing them aggressively enough or rapidly enough. Why is that? Because what holds us back is not what we have, but what we believe. In other words, what's holding us back is not tangible, it's psychological and emotional and cultural. So, what I'm going to share right now are the 6 beliefs that are slowing the transition to a sustainable planet. Okay, belief number 1 is about funding. There's this popular idea that living and operating sustainably is expensive, but we put much more funding into the causes of climate change than we put into the solutions. A recent study by Deutsche Bank showed that the fossil fuel industry receives about $6 trillion in direct and indirect subsidies per year. And industrial agriculture, which is mostly animal agriculture, receives about 500 billion. So if we took that $6.5 trillion a year and put it just into renewables, we would comfortably have enough to convert the entire planet to renewable energy in about 2 decades. Number 2 is about opportunity. We tend to frame the shift to sustainability as a crisis and a burden, but we forget that it's in its essence a massive opportunity to think in revolutionary ways and to implement changes that are huge and profitable and provident that we should have made decades ago. Belief number 3 relates to COVID. When COVID hit, we made immediate, massive, global scale changes to our lifestyles. We shut down schools and businesses and travel and locked ourselves inside for months and in some cases years. Those were big changes. The sustainability lifestyle changes that we need to make are much less severe than that. So we've proven to ourselves that the shifts we need to make to save the planet, we are quite capable of, and they are quite manageable. Another belief that has to shift is around quality of life. There's a huge misunderstanding that living more sustainably means we have to lower our quality of life or live in less comfortable ways. We're still going to travel and run our AC and build buildings and manufacture products. We're just going to do it with renewable energy and with sustainable materials. If you want to run your AC, just run it from solar without guilt all day long. If you like fast cars, electric cars are faster than internal combustion cars. For the top 10%, life really won't change much, and it isn't changing much. For the bottom 10%, it will change dramatically because they are much more intimately tied to the earth. They need good soil to grow crops, subsistence crops, clean water, clean air, because they don't have the money to filter their water or their air or just to simply migrate when things go wrong. So for the top 10%, quality of life will not change much. For the bottom 10%, it will be improved dramatically when we live more sustainably. So the next belief centers around sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice to live our lives and operate our businesses sustainably. The real sacrifice is that millions of people die every year from air pollution. It's a sacrifice that 1 billion people don't get enough to eat each day. It's a sacrifice that 100 species of plants and animals go extinct every day on planet Earth. Those are true sacrifices, and those are avoidable if we just make some manageable changes. And the last concept is what I call we have an idyllic pastoral fantasy. We still think that, we have this age-old idea that the cattle and pigs and chickens that we eat are just strolling through grassy hills on these beautiful farms. But that's just not the case. 90% perhaps 99% of the animals that we raise in the Western world are raised in industrial feedlots called CAFOs, which are just concrete disease-ridden, cramped prisons for animals. They are born and they die there. And we know that deep down, but we don't want to accept it. And it's simply beneath us as human beings to treat billions of other sentient beings that way. The author George Monbiot, Monbiot, writes very eloquently about this in case you want to go deeper. Also, animal agriculture in general is the number 1 or number 2 cause of climate change, depending on how you want to measure it. So there really is no upside to raising animals on this scale. So we have to let go of the idea that, these sort of fantasies that, animals are raised in this idyllic way, and really accept the reality that, we're really torturing and harming billions of animals, and in the process, we are quickly degrading planet Earth. So thanks for listening and checking this out. If you are sort of into these cultural or human sides of climate change and climate change mitigation, you might want to check out my website, theplanetdoctor.com, where I have my TEDx talk and what I call my Oxford talk. There's videos, links to those there, and I go much deeper into these issues.